Now, may I request the COMSEC to acknowledge our members as well as the invited guests present here this afternoon. COMSEC?
Good afternoon. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. May we acknowledge the virtual presence of Deputy Minority Leader Shari Antan, Representative Jose Francisco Kiko Benitez, Representative Mario Vittorio Marvi Marino, Representatives Manuel Cabuchan III, Representative Alan T., and Representative Edgar Chato. And may we also acknowledge and welcome the officials of the Department of Social Welfare and Development. Physically present at the Nograles Hall, Secretary Rolando Bautista, Assistant Secretary Glenda Rilova, Director Wayne Belizar, Director Attorney Katrina Grace Ongoko, Hannah Giray Carcido, Assistant Bureau Director, and all the regional directors are also present virtually, and the attached agencies, the Executive Director for the Council for the Welfare of Children, Mary Michik Kahayon Uy, Executive Director, Inter-Country Adoption Board, Attorney Bernadette Abejo, Executive Director, Juvenile Justice Welfare Council, Attorney Tricia Claire Oco, Executive Director, National Council on Disability Affairs, Engineer Emerito Rojas. That's all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, COMSEC. So we will continue the interpellation of the members on the budget of DSWD and its attached agency for fiscal year 2022. So the first in our list is from the minority, Representative Argel Kabatbat. Representative Kabatbat. Well, so as not to waste time, let's move on to the majority, and then we'll just go back to the minority later. Let me call in Representative Jegod P. You have the floor. Wala rin. Also, next, let's call in Representative BG Lacson. BG Lacson. They're not yet in, so may I call in Representative Rida Robes. Representative Rida Robes. Kindly unmute. You have the floor, Representative Robes. So let's move on, and may we call in Representative Ria Farinas. Representative Ria Farinas. So let's move to balikan natin sa minority, Representative Argel Kabatbat, last call. Kung wala na, let's move to the second round of interpellators. Representative Stella Kimbo from the minority. How about Representative Vicente Veloso? Representative Sara Ilago? Session suspended. Para? Ha? So hearing resumed. The chair recognizes Representative Argel Kabatbat. You have the floor, Representative Argel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Uh, Madam Chair, I would like to ask DSWD if they have a program wherein they give credit lines to laboratories, to doctors, and other medical service providers under the IX program.
DSWD, who wants to answer that?
Madam Chair, may ASEC Glenda Relova be recognized, Madam Chair.
Asa Krylova, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's no specific programs for that. However, with our current IX program, we engage our service provider who are the hospitals, and sometimes it is the pharmacy in order for us to serve our beneficiaries. So it's not a program, but it's just a partnership or a memorandum of agreement in order for them to issue or give services, and then the DSWD will be issuing a guarantee letter, and then they will bill us in order for us to pay their services. Madam Chair, Honorable Congressman.
Congressman Kabatbat.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to ask, how stringent are your accreditation procedure in selecting who to transact with or who to enter a memorandum of agreement with? Halimbawa, sa mga doktor, sa pharmacy, sa mga hospital, sa mga laboratories. Ano po yung proseso ninyo sa pag-accredit ng makaka-memorandum of agreement ninyo?
DSWD, go ahead.
Madam Chair, may ASEC Relova be recognized.
Once again, Asa Krylova, you have the floor.
Madam Chair, our accreditation process is not that stringent. So we just enter into a MOA with them. And then, but prior to entering into a MOA, our field offices visits the location and assess the capacity of that particular service provider in order to serve our beneficiaries. So there, the location and also the capacity to serve, Madam Chair. So it's just a MOA.
Rep Argel.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So it has been established that the measures in accrediting the suppliers are not that stringent. Meron lang po akong tanong sa Region 12 Director ng DSWD. Nandito po ba siya?
Is
Madam
the
Chair,
director of, yeah, go ahead.
Madam Chair, may Regional Director Resty Makuto of Region 12 be recognized.
Resty Makuto, Regional Director of
Field Office 12, Region 12.
Region 12. Kindly
Yes, Madam Chair,
go ahead.
Congressman, Minority Leader Argel Kabatbat, I am here po, so ready to reply to your query about the for Region 12 about the laboratory and pharmacy engagement. Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Madam Chair, I would like to ask if he is aware of the PhilHealth scam exposure that we have conducted here in Congress about PhilHealth scam, Madam Chair. Is he aware of our proceedings there?
Go ahead, Regional Director.
Yes, Madam Chair, Congressman, Minority Leader. Yes, I am aware po because when I was still at the central office, I have seen that over the television and some of the print media about the scam for PhilHealth, about the one of the doctor here in Region 12.
Okay. So, Madam Chair, Director, you are aware that Dr. Dennis Menguita, who through him 648 million pesos from PhilHealth were processed and claimed through this doctor. Kilala niyo po ito, aware po kayo dito, no?
You have the floor. And Director.
Yes, Madam Chair, Minority Leader, Congressman Arhel. So, nakita ko lang po yon sa radyo, ay sa television, about this particular doctor. So, pagpasok ko po rito sa DSW Region 12 in July 1, wala po kaming engagement with this particular doctor here in Region 12.
You mean to say, Madam Chair, wala pang engagement? Dr. Mark Dennis Menguita did not attempt to enter into a memorandum of agreement with DSWD Region 12. Is that what you are saying, RD?
Yes, Madam Chair, Minority Leader, Congressman Arhel. Per record, I have seen the intent of RX to go and the Cerebron Laboratory, but it was not yet engaged with the DSWD because it was submitted 21, but hindi po siya na-actionan. So ngayon po, meron pong nagtanong what happened. So niretrieve ko po yung documents on that. Then I am reviewing right now in relation to the PhilHealth scam. So no transaction at all for 2021 with regards to the engagement with Dr. Dennis. Thank you po, Madam Chair, Minority Leader, Congressman Abel.
So, Cerebron Laboratory and RX2Go na pagmamayari ni Dr. Mark Dennis Menguita is already attempting to enter into a contract with DSWD Region 12. Tama po, nag-a-attempt na siya.
Yes po, may sulat po siya intending to renew his engagement in because in 2020 meron pong previous 2019, 2020 meron na pong engagement po si Dr. Dennis, but nag-expire po yon, so he signified his interest to renew, but hindi na po siya na-actionan until now. So yun po pinapalo up nila tungkol po dito.
Yes. Madam Chair, the reason why I am bringing this up is because I believe that the PhilHealth scam syndicates are now migrating from PhilHealth to DSWD. So ito na nga po na inamin na ni Director. Dr. Mark Dennis Menguita, yung in-expose natin dito sa Congress, is already attempting to renew his accreditation with DSWD. So ibig sabihin, matagal na pala siyang may transaction sa DSWD. And he is just renewing his contract with you. So Madam Chair, I would like to inform, of course, the good secretary that we should watch out for this development. Alam nung mga sindikato sa PhilHealth scam, paubos na ang pera ng PhilHealth. Kaya eto, nakikita natin, lumilipat sila ngayon sa DSWD. Pagkatapos nilang ubusin ang pera ng PhilHealth, pera naman ng DSWD ang susunod nila. Eto na nga, inamin kanina ni ASEC, the accreditation guidelines are not stringent. At eto nga na inamin ni Director, nag-expire lang pala yung kanyang kontrata at nire-renew lang nitong Dr. Mark Dennis Menguita. So you see, may problema po tayo pagdating sa accreditation. Kailangan po ninyong higpitan yan kasi baka matulad naman sa PhilHealth yung pondo ng DSWD na mauubos sa scam na ganito. So, hindi po nagpapapigil sa pandemic itong mga ganitong klaseng tao. So, imagine, ito na nga, buti nakarating nga sa akin ito na meron na palang nire-renew na kontrata sa DSWD. Itong mga doktor na napatunayan natin dito na involved sa PhilHealth scam at tinanggalan na ng accreditation ng PhilHealth. So, Madam Chair, I would like to ask the good secretary accreditation procedure to make it more stringent and to avoid this kind of opportunity for the PhilHealth scam syndicates. I know that you are doing reforms in DSWD. You are a gentleman and a true patriot. I know that you will hold your ground against these syndicates. Alam ko mahirap na i-reform in itself ang DSWD, tapos papasukan pa kayo ulit ng mga nagmamigrate na mga sindikato galing PhilHealth na papasukin naman ng DSWD. So, Mr. Secretary, I know it is a very difficult task, but please, bantayan niyo po ito. Huwag niyong hayaan na ubusin ng mga buhaya na to ang pondo ng DSWD, katulad ng ginawa nila sa PhilHealth. So, Madam Chair, before I end, I would also want to commend our secretary, the DSWD family, particularly my schoolmate from law school, Raifa Pamaloy, sa dyan po, Region 9. Continue making our alma mater proud. At I support the budget of DSWD. And aside from this development, I know that you are doing your job for the country and especially for our poor Filipino citizens. So, Madam Chair, yun lamang po. I have no further questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative Kabatbat. And I would like to also want to get the response of Secretary Bautista and his commitment. No?
Madam Chair, Honorable Congressman, rest assured that the DSWD foremost will revisit the mechanisms and the procedures relative to the accreditation of any agency or organization that will delve into make business with the DSWD. We will closely monitor as what the Honorable Congressman have said. And after this, I will talk to the regional director and really scrutinize and determine whatever gaps or weaknesses that might arise from the renewal. So, buti po nakarating sa amin yan. And ayun po ang aking pangako na hindi po natin papayagan yan if really there's a irregularities or anomalies that might arise, no, as compared to what happened in PhilHealth. Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Thank you very much for your response, Secretary, and your commitment as well. And the next interpolator, let's proceed to the next interpolator. Let's call in Representative Ria Farinas. I think she's ready.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, good evening. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. Madam Chair, I would just like to ask if the DSWD has the data on the SAP implementation for the first district of Ilocos Norte.
Secretary, would you?
Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Before you make you respond, Representative Farinas, can you please turn on your video?
I am on mobile right now, Madam Chair, so my signal is not very good.
Okay, that's fine. So go ahead, Secretary.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, we have the data, and if the Honorable Congresswoman necessitates to have that data, we will provide, Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Rep Farinas, are you satisfied? According to the Secretary, he will provide, the DSWD will provide you with the data that you requested.
Madam Chair, I have here the data from our regional office. The reason why I was asking the good secretary is I wanted to see if the information I got is correct. According to the data that I was given, for the Bayanihan to Madam Chair, only less than 200 people from my district have received their SAP. May I get an answer, Madam Chair, or an explanation as to why only 200 people from my district have received their SAP?
Yes, Secretary Bautista.
Madam Chair, may Regional Director Lala Gopalan of Region 1 be recognized? Madam Chair.
Director Lala Upalan, you're
Good
recognized.
Good afternoon po, Congresswoman. So, the data provided for the Bayanihan 2 is because these are already in addition to what you call this, the clients that were the beneficiaries that were already covered previously in SAP 1. So additional beneficiaries na lang po siya, ma'am. So all the others have already been granted, and that these are in accordance with the criteria that were indicated in our guidelines po.
Thank you. Representative Fariñas. Representative Fariñas. Baka nawala ng ano.
Oh,
Sige.
Madam Chair, thank you. Sorry, I was muted. Madam Chair, I would just like to RD, paki-check lang please kung tama yung data ninyo, kasi I have so many of my constituents complaining that kahit nga SAP1 wala pa silang natatanggap. Actually, in the data I got, you have over 700 people that are still waitlisted beneficiaries. So bakit ganun po, Madam Chair? This is from SAP1 po. I mean from Bayanihan 1, sorry.
So you're saying, Representative Fariñas, Bayanihan 1, there's still a remaining number of beneficiaries na hindi nakatanggap ng SAP.
That's correct, Madam Chair. This is based from the data that I got from the Region 1 Field Office.
Secretary, DSWD, RD pa rin?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Si
May she be recognized?
RD Gopalan?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, Madam. Yes, Madam Chair. So we have the data that's 954 that were listed as were indicated as waitlisted. That number of paid beneficiaries among the waitlisted is 865. So I don't have the details right now of the balance of why they were not paid, but most likely they were found to be ineligible or no show. So yun po yung dahilan. But if you will note, ma'am, it's 954 listed as waitlisted, but paid were 865.
Madam Chair, I believe we are not looking at the same data, but anyway, kindly look into it po, kasi if no show, ang daling papuntahin yung mga tao, and I'm sure they are willing to go and get what yung SAP nila.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair. So the department has done its effort, ma'am, po, to follow up and then seek the no-shows. So at this time, since we have wrapping up already on our reports, we have determined that the remaining ones are mostly ineligible po. But we will go check our data and then give you update po.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. My next question is, Madam Chair, during the last budget briefing, I was patiently listening, and I heard a representative from DSWD say that COVID patients are eligible for AX as much as 150,000 pesos, if I'm not mistaken. I'd just like to ask the good secretary, Madam Chair, what is the process for people to be able to avail of such po? So, kunwari na hospital yung tao, COVID patient siya, lalabas na, paano sila mag-avail po?
Go ahead, Secretary Bautista.
Madam Chair, Your Honor, may Director Kat Ongoko be recognized.
At Goko, Catherine Ongoko, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Respond to the question of Honorable Congresswoman Fariñas for the provision of medical assistance to COVID-19 patients. We follow the usual process as we follow for the claiming of medical assistance from the department, meaning if the patient cannot go to the DSWD personally, he or she can send a representative, and we call that representative as our client to represent our beneficiary who would only need to provide us the medical requirements such as the medical bill, our usual ID requirements for identification or validation of the identity of the client and the beneficiary, as well as the quotation if there is any. So we usually only require the representatives of the COVID-19 patient, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Attorney Ongoko.
Well,
Right.
Madam Chair, the problem is when I asked our provincial officer, what she said was, upon completion of the requirements by the individuals, the papers would still have to be sent to central office and signed and approved by central office. Kaya wala po sa mga constituents ko ang nakaka-avail ng financial assistance that have tested from COVID kasi ganun po katagal yung proseso. So bakit hindi po magkatugma, Madam Chair, yung sinasabi nila?
Yes, go ahead, Secretary or Attorney Ongoko.
Yeah.
Siguro sa amount din, no? Depende rin sa threshold ng pwede sa provincial level at saka sa regional at saka national. So maybe you can expound on that, Attorney?
Yes, Madam Chair, if I may respond, probably the case of the client would be needing a total amount of more than 150,000 pesos, which would require the approval of our secretary. For our regional directors, they can approve only up to maximum of 150,000 pesos. For that case, in order to clarify and validate that situation, we would have our regional directors coordinate with the provincial office of the Congresswoman. Thank you.
Look into their policies. Kasi as early as last year, we've established already that the minimum hospital bill for COVID patients reach almost 1 million pesos. So, alam na po natin ang expected kung gaano kalaki yung nagagastos nila. So, kung pupunta yung pasyente, tapos papadala pa natin sa regional director, medyo matatagalan na nga bago pa nila matanggap yung financial assistance nila. And we know that these people cannot be checked out of the hospital, they can't be sent home unless their bills are paid in full. So, sana matignan po natin yung mga policies na yon.
Yes, who would like to respond to that? DSWD?
Madam Chair, may Director Ongoko be recognized.
Yes, again, Attorney Ongoko.
Yes, Madam Chair, the comments of our good representative are well noted, and we will like to give a briefing to the good Congresswoman on how she can assist her constituents for COVID-19 patients so that the DSWD can assist her office. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Rep. Ria, do you still have additional questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just down to my last comment, Madam Chair. I hope the good secretary could please look into adding the number of our disbursing officers in the district. Because in my district, I have 11 municipalities and 1 city, and we only have 2 disbursing officers, Madam Chair. So, like the situation that's happening now, sabay-sabay na download ang AX ng province, ng district ko, wala na, parang we're on lock na, hindi na sila makagalaw kasi hindi nila mapagsabay since there are only 2 dispersing officers. So kami pa yung nagpapaschedule for its release. If they're catering to the province, they can't cater to the district anymore. And even when they can cater to the district, matagal yung implementation since dalawa lang po yung dispersing officers namin. So sana po madagdagan po yun, Madam Chair.
DSWD, kindly respond.
Madam Chair, may ASIC Glenda be recognized?
You recognize ASEC Glenn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We take note of the suggestion and the issues of Honorable Congresswoman Fariñas. And currently po, ngayon, nagpagawa po kami ng catch-up plan po natin sa ating mga field offices per program, how many SDOs yung kailangan nila, magkano yung bond na kakailanganin, magkano yung threshold in order for us to accommodate yun pong mga payouts po namin ng aming mga AICs. And we will be endeavoring to increase our SDOs po this coming days as well as increase their bonds po para maka-accommodate tayo ng mga need po natin for payouts. Madam Chair.
Thank you, ASEC Glenn. Rep Priya.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much to the DSWD family.
Salamat din. So let's move on to the next interpolator. Let me call in Representative Rida Robes.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, DSWD family. Kong Rida po from the City of San Jose del Monte, Bulacan. First, I'd like to make my manifestation on the request of the Honorable Chairman Veloso about the special provision for senior citizen. Kasi talaga, ang dami talaga nagiging problema about the senior citizen. Tuwing nakikita po nila tayo, lagi nilang sinasabi, paano ba yung dagdag, para sa kanilang mga allowances. And I agree with them. Kung 10 piso nga lang ba per meal ang ating inaalat, ay hindi po ito sasapat. Number 2, in the City of San Jose del Monte, I'd like to tell everyone that we have 17,823 4-piece members. So by this, I'd just like to ask for a report regarding them kasi hindi ko na monitor ngayon kung ano yung sigla ng 4-piece. Although hindi naman kami nagme-medal sa relationship or any activities nyo with 4-piece. Although my husband is a mayor, I'd like to ask for an updated activities of the 4-piece members of the City of San Jose del Monte at kung sino pa po yung mga graduating. Number 3, for your IX, I agree with Congresswoman Rhea Fariñas that kahit alam ko po na very hardworking po ang ating DSWD family, pero yung disbursing officers po talaga natin ay talagang kulang. Kaya siguro if they needed to be bonded, I think you really have to because of this pandemic days, these days for the senior citizens who are requesting a lot, dapat ay madagdagan. And lastly po, not lastly, I'd like to request the Honorable Chair to check on the food packs being delivered and distributed by our DSWD family in the entire Philippines. Kasi po yung mga naka-boxes po nila, pag binuksan po ng tao, may bukbok na may bukbok o may sira na po yung mga bigas nila na pinamimigay, pati yung mga dilata ay kupi-kupi na. Ang sa akin lang po ay tayo po ay tumutulong sa mahihirap, wag natin iparamdam sa kanila na sila pa po ay mahirap dahil po sa ganitong mga klaseng food packs. And number 5, lastly po, I'd like to thank the Honorable Secretary Rolly Bautista for continuously helping our district. The province and the region has been helping us all throughout. Although sometimes may nagiging problema, pero naiayos din po. Madam Chair, I don't need an answer verbally, but I just need a letter on my queries. Yun lang po. And just wanted to thank the good secretary again and again for helping our city, the City of San Jose del Monte, one of the biggest population in the entire province of Bulacan. Maraming salamat po, Madam Chair, and God bless you all po.
Thank you very much, Representative Robes. And please take note, the SWD, that of the request of Representative Robes to submit your answers to, of course, her office and at the same time the APRO. Let's move on and call in. The chair would like to recognize Representative Toff de Venecia. Let's move to the next interpellator, Representative VG Lacson. So that's the end of the first round. Let's go to the second round and let me call in from the minority, Representative Stella Kimbo. Kong Stella?
Madam Chair, can
Yes.
you hear?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. Actually, I just have a few questions, Madam Chair. This is just a follow-up on the last interpellation. We came to a conclusion that there are a lot of unutilized funds, particularly for IX. And I think as of end July, there are, I think unutilized funds is estimated at 19.9 billion. And when we were trying to extrapolate what the balance would be by the end of this year, a USEC agreed that a reasonable amount by end of December is about 15.9 billion. So Madam Chair, marami pa ring, malaking pondo pa rin yan. So I'd like to ask DSWD again kung napag-isipan na po ba nila ang possible ways to accelerate disbursement.
Sorry.
Discussing with the IATF. Ngayon na po na merong bagong approach to the lockdowns, which is the granular lockdowns. Baka naman isang posibilidad to accelerate disbursement is to, for example, give ayuda to households that will be on granular lockdown. So ito po yung first question ko.
Thank you very much, Rep. Stella. Who would like to respond to that?
Madam
Secretary?
Chair, may ASEC Glenda be recognized.
ASEC Glenn, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Honorable Congresswoman Stella. So after our last hearing, we asked our field officers to make a catch-up plan on how are they going to disburse the funds, as well as relevant to the granular lockdown with the new strategy that is being employed. The DSWD will be providing food packs to areas which will be declared under granular lockdown, as well as those peripheral areas wherein there will be no movement at all. And not only for the provision of food pack, depending on the needs of our beneficiaries, the DSWD will still be making our AICs available aside from the provision of 3 food packs per family whenever an area is declared under granular lockdown. Madam Chair, Honorable Congresswoman Stella Kimbo.
So Madam Chair,
excuse me, Rep, kanina kasi hindi rin sagot ni ASEC Glenn regarding the proposal of Congresswoman Stella Kimbo na yung AICs will be used for granular, in case if there's a granular lockdown. Na
Yes, Madam Chair. To answer your question, the new scheme po kasi ng granular lockdown ngayon is, which will be released siguro very, very soon, is provision po of food packs lang po. Ang talagang nakalagay natin ngayon as special assistance to granular lockdown areas po. However po, syempre alam nga natin na may mga iba-iba din naman na needs ang ating mga ano. So we don't limit it to food packs alone. Depending on the need and the proposal of our constituents po, magbibigay pa rin po talaga tayo sa DSWD ng whatever pong pangangailangan nila, and naka-open pa rin po ang ating AICs.
Thank you very much, ASEC Glenn. Go ahead, Constella.
So, Madam Chair, may we know the cost of a food pack? Kasi I think, Madam Chair, ang problema natin is mukhang marami pa rin matitira kung food packs lamang ang ipro-provide sa mga families on granular lockdown. So, palagay ko dapat in addition to food packs, dapat nandyan pa rin ang the usual cash assistance. So, may we know po yung costing ninyo ng food packs at yung projected na additional spending.
Yes, who would like to respond to that? DSWD.
Madam Chair, for the family food packs, may Director Emmanuel Privado be recognized, Madam Chair.
Director Ibado, go ahead.
Good afternoon po, Madam Chair, and to Congressman Kimbo. The cost of family food pack po produced at NROP is 600 pesos up to 650 pesos, depending on the result of the bidding for raw materials. But in our latest engagement in the third-party producer of a family food pack, it costs about 774 pesos, Madam Chair, Your Honors.
And Madam Chair, para sa ilang tao po at para sa ilang araw yung food pack na yan?
Yeah, our food pack po is composed of 4 cans of tuna, 4 cans of corned beef, 6 kilos of rice, 5 pieces of coffee, 5 pieces of cereal drink, and 2 pieces of sardines. And that is good for a family of 5, ma'am, for 3 days. That's why if there will be a lockdown for 7 days that we will have to assist, we have to give 3 food packs for each family or household. Madam Chair, your response.
Thank you.
So,
Stella?
Madam Chair, may we request ASEC Glenda to do a costing, assuming halimbawa that we have, let's say, 500,000 individuals with COVID until the end of the year, magkano kaya ang magiging cost po niyan sa pag-provide ng food as well as a reasonable amount of cash assistance? Baka pwede na lang pong isubmit sa atin para malaman po natin kung yan ay isang paraan para po magamit ng mabuti ang nakikita po natin matitirang malaking balanse po ng AIX. And moving on to my last question po, Madam Chair, I heard the last time when somebody asked about which particular services would be devolved, nabanggit po ang AIX and a few other programs, hindi po nabanggit ang 4Ps. So I would like to ask whether 4Ps will also be devolved.
Who will answer that?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, may ASEC Joyce Niwani be recognized?
ASEC Joy Niwani, you have the floor.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. Yes, good evening, Chair, and to Congresswoman Kimbo. AIX will not be devolved due to the fact that there is a law for the 4Ps. So it is still in the law that the DSWD will be the one to implement the AIX po. So hindi po natin i-devolve ang AIX. Nasa DSWD pa rin po, Chair, ma'am.
Okay, so that's clear. Hindi po ma-devolve ang AIX. What about 4Ps po?
No. Yung
Yeah, and I
4Ps
mean 4Ps po, ma'am, ang hindi ma-devolve.
4Ps ang hindi ma-devolve.
4Ps
Ang hindi,
devolve.
yes po, ang 4Ps po ang hindi ma-devolve.
And ang AIX?
Dahil meron pa tayong law on... Ang AIX po, ma'am, ang ma-devolve po sa 2023, pero this will be, ma'am, scaled down. Meaning we will just be catering now to interregional cases and of course for the Malasakit Center and other cases that are necessary that we have to assist po. So we will have a different guideline for this, but the AIX program will still be maintained at the DSWD. However, the clientele group will now be selected.
So in other words,
Thank you, ma'am.
in other words, Madam Chair, just to clarify, yung AIX will not be fully devolved. A certain portion, ide-devolve sa LGUs, pero may portion na may iwan po sa central office. Okay.
Director
Uh,
Joyce?
Yes, Madam Chair, that's correct, Congresswoman Kimbo, that we will not be devolving fully the AIX,
And
but instead it will just be scaled down.
And Madam Chair,
Thank you, ma'am.
as soon as the DSWD would have draft guidelines on the devolution of AIX, can you please provide us a copy of those? So yun lang po, Madam Chair. Salamat.
Thank you very much, Stella. So, yung hinihingi
We'll do
po,
that, Madam Chair.
Stella, no? Please take note, Director Joyce. Yes. Okay. So, salamat din. Next, let's call in Representative Toff de Venecia. Rep Toff?
Yes. Can I be
Yes, go
heard,
ahead.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sure.
Okay, great.
Go
Thank
ahead.
you. So first off, hello to the DSWD family led by Sec Bautista, of course to Director Gopalan as well. And the NCIP family led by Chair Alan Capuyan. And I want to give a shout out to Commissioner Sibuglas, who's joined us in most of our hearings in the Creative Industry Committee. Thank you everybody for your support to the 4th District of Pangasinan, especially the AIX program, which has helped thousands of our vulnerable stakeholders. So 3 questions lang, Madam Chair. First is on the SLP, or the Sustainable Livelihood Program. May I know the scope of assistance that can be extended to our communities through this program, aside from capacity building and training? Because, you know, we get a lot of that already from TESDA. But through the SLP, does this include seed capital and other types of equipment?
Who would like to answer that? Sec Bautista?
Madam Chair, may Director Janet Armas be recognized?
Director Armas, you're recognized.
Madam Chair, Congressman, yes, we have, aside from trainings, we can provide seed capital to our beneficiaries, especially the Sustainable Livelihood Associations, Your Honors.
Okay. And is there a mechanism by which we can monitor these forms of support vis-a-vis the support coming from DTI, DOLE, and DOST for livelihood? Kasi parang ang daming sources and it's not rationalized, and there's a possibility for duplication, and some may be availing of more programs and some are maybe slipping through the cracks. So I'm just wondering if there's like a coordination for this particular purpose.
Go ahead, Director Armas.
Yes, Madam Chair, Your Honor, we do have a monitoring system, and for better coordination, we can contact you through Director Lala of Region 1, so that there can be a meeting among the livelihood providers in Region 1, specifically your district, Your Honor.
Well, that's great to hear, Madam Chair, but I think that's something that needs to happen for all districts, all regions. Para there's no redundance, diba? And we can reach as many people as possible. And also, Madam Chair, would it be possible for office to submit to the DSWD a list of possible recipients? I mean, I know that we can't be the one initiating it, but can we sort of maybe assist in connecting communities with the agency? Because parang sometimes there's like a disconnect, and sometimes the constituents are not necessarily aware that this is possible, or sometimes the seed hasn't been planted in the constituents that it's possible na makapagnegosyo sila and tap DSWD for support.
Kindly respond, Director Armas.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to the Honorable Congressman. Yes, definitely you can help us identify the families or the individuals who are needing livelihood, and we will be happy to coordinate with you if you have list. But this will all be subject to validation, and if they are eligible, then they can be provided with the Sustainable Livelihood Program, Your Honors.
All right. Madam Chair, if we can request Director Gopalan to reach out to our office. Kasi sometimes, Madam Chair, especially kung hindi empowered yung stakeholder, hindi rin sila makakaisip ng posibleng negosyo using the resources that are immediately available to them. In fact, a lot of the MSMEs that are starting to prop up in our district are basically parang nagiging stimulus yung pagbisita ko sa kanila because I plant the seed in them na, for example, kung may sampagita kayong kinocultivate sa community nyo, pwede nyo yung gawing livelihood through essential oil. Or for example, kung may calamansi plantations, pwede nyo siyang gamitin yung extract for calamansi concentrate. Or pwede kayong gumawa ng calamansi crinkles and many other forms of livelihood. So minsan hindi pa nila naiisip sa sarili nila na gumawa ng kabuhayan using the resources available to them. And so sometimes I really need to activate the community by really engaging with them. And then of course, the problem becomes yung source of funding. Kunwari meron ng magandang proposal, sino yung pwedeng mag-fund nito? So I'm happy to know that the DSWD can work with our office because there are so many different beneficiaries that we can activate. Because by activating, that means we have to plant the seed and induce the idea for kabuhayan and then have DSWD fund and then also provide the trainings and capacity building and equipment for that. So I expect Director Gopalan to reach out to my office at the soonest. The second question, Madam Chair, is on the Kalahi SIDS. May I know which type of services and programs are included in this particular item of the DSWD?
Secretary Bautista.
Madam Chair, may Director Janet Armas be recognized again, Madam Chair.
You have the floor, Director Armas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Kalahi Seeds is a community-driven development program. It provides capacity building to our barangays, and we also do implement some sub-projects that are prioritized by the barangays. There are infrastructure projects, there are COVID-related response and early recovery. That's the focus of the Kalahi Seeds this time. And we also have the Balik Provincia still under the Kalahi Seeds.
Okay,
So we
thank
have
you. That's an okay answer for me, Madam Chair. Can this account, Madam Chair, for some shared service facilities similar to what the DTI is already providing? Because I actually just came from their budget hearing and they are largely underfunded and maybe needs a little bit of supplement, maybe from another agency like DSWD. And what I mean by shared service facilities is, for example, you're looking at a community and most people in the barangay produce rattan products. So obviously they need shared service facilities and able to process the rattan to become baskets, or maybe they need some kind of pasalubong center where these rattan products can be sold so that there's sort of like a marketing platform for them. Similarly, if there's a barangay, for example, of which most of them are cultivating cacao, there is need for a livelihood component there, a marketing component there which can be used by as many stakeholders who are engaged in that particular sector or activity. So can the Kalahi SIDS account for these shared service facilities, since you mentioned earlier infrastructure or even mga equipment na medyo mamahalin? Like for example, to convert sampagita into essential oil, that will easily cost 1.2 to 1.5 million pesos. And the farmers will not be able to afford that. But if they do venture into essential oil making, then that can be livelihood for them. So I'm just wondering if Kalahi SIDS can account for shared service facilities for livelihood.
But before Director Armas is recognized, let me remind Rep. Tov that you only have 30 seconds left.
Yes, I'll just have one last question after that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Director Armas.
Yes. Madam Chair, Honorable Congressman, the Kalahi seeds is purposely for the 4 to 6 class municipalities. But given the idea that you presented, this can be an exploration with the Sustainable Livelihood Program. Since you're discussing mostly livelihood, accessibility to livelihood, capacity building, and also livelihood assistance, Your Honor. But we will coordinate with your office, and we will ask our regional project coordinator to look into the request, Your Honor.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And last question, Madam Chair, is actually for the NCIP. May I know if there's a 2022 program proposal for intellectual property expansion and livelihood development for our indigenous peoples and indigenous cultural communities?
Thank you, Tov. Chair Allen Kapuyan, are you on board?
Yes, Madam Chair, Your Honor.
Go ahead. Kindly respond to the question or query of Representative Tov de Venecia.
Kasi Madam Chair, we're still hoping yung bill ni Deputy Speaker Lauren De Garda will pass on the intellectual property of the indigenous peoples. But my question is really with regards to yung sustainability nila. Kasi meron silang mga gawa. And I'm just wondering if my programs pang NCIP to be able to make these products and outputs, whether it's weaves or some other creative output, more accessible to the people, to the public?
Chair Kapuyan, can you respond to that?
Yes, Madam Chair, Your Honor, we don't have a project covered for the next year po regarding intellectual property rights po. There's none.
Okay, well, that's very unfortunate to hear, Madam Chair. Siguro NCIP can look into this and maybe propose for funding by Congress. Kasi very vulnerable yung ating mga IPs and ICCs. Kailangan natin sila bigyan ng means to be able to sustain their livelihood. And you have the schools of living tradition, which is being implemented by the NCCA. But I hope there are more programs that can sort of capacitate them further so that they can become economically sustainable, para hindi forever living in the fringes of society and not being able to access a bigger chunk of the value chain with regards to some of their output, like yung mga weaves nila and many other types. So yun lang po ang aking hiling, and thank you so much, Madam Chair, and to the DSWD, the NCIP family, and everybody else who's part of this ecosystem. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rep. De Venecia, and I also share your sentiments, especially you mentioned about sustainability of the IP's livelihood program. So I think that should be one area that should be taken into consideration by the NCIP.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next, let me call in Representative Abdullah Dimaporo. The chair recognizes Abdullah Dimaporo, Representative Dimaporo. So wala na siya. So let's move to our last second to the last interpolator, Representative Franz Castro. Representative Franz.
Thank
Good
you, Madam Chair.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening po sa lahat at syempre sa family po ng DSWD. So yun lang po, no, hindi po kasi ako nakaano nung last time about gusto ko lang pong marinig, Madam Chair, yung categorical answer, yes or no, sa ating secretary, Madam Chair, about the ayuda. Dahil kanina sinasabi po ni Representative Kimbo about the AYICS, ano, pero nakikita naman natin na talagang naghihirap pa rin at syempre tumataas pa rin yung cases natin dito sa COVID-19, Madam Chair. So, Madam Chair, kay Secretary po. So, yung po bang sa 2022 na ayuda para po, like yung SAP, para po sa ating mga kababayan, halimbawa sa granular, ay wala po. Meron po o wala? Kayong maipopropose dito sa 2022.
Yes, thank you, Rep. Who would like to answer that?
Secretary po, Secretary Bautista po.
Okay, Secretary Bautista, you have the floor.
Yeah. Madam Chair, Your Honor, when we talk of the ayuda, as what katulad po nung nangyari na inimplement ang Bayanihan 1 and 2, wala po kaming programa for 2022. However, yung regular programs po namin, ito po yung protective social protection, ito po yung AICS, dito po nakaangkla lahat ang mga ayuda na pwede naming ibigay sa ating mga kapatid, kababayan na mas nangangailangan ng tulong through the AICS, Madam Chair. Pero tinatanong din po kami kung susuportahan namin na if in case there will be a bill that will sponsor for the short of saying like the Bayanihan 1 and 2 on the side po ng DSWD, we fully support po kung ano po ang ayuda na isasaad sa law na binabalangkas po ng ating mga honorable legislators, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair, doon po sa sagot ni Secretary, no, na talagang sa budget natin ng 2022, aside from AYICS na tingin, sabi po ni Congressman Stella, no, unutilized yung karamihan. So wala po talagang ayuda na katulad ng SAP para sa 2022. Gusto ko lang po munang magpasalamat, Madam Chair, sa ating NCDA, no, sa pagbibigay ng maagap na report. Natanggap ko na po yung report ng NCDA. Maraming salamat po. And then po yung pong suporta sana natin doon pa sa ibang mga programs ng DSWD, like yung sa senior citizen natin, doon sa PWD, syempre doon sa ating mga suporta doon sa ating mga bata ay in proper time po mag-ano po tayo ng amendments to increase yung mga budget nila dito sa mahalagang program ito ng DSWD. Madam Chair, wala na po akong tanong, but I have a motion in as much as wala na rin po tayo yatang magtatanong except for one. So motion po na to terminate the briefing of the budget of the DSWD proper, except po for the NCIP, Madam Chair, kasi meron pa po tayong issue sa NCIP. I so move, Madam Chair.
Yeah, Rep. Francis, we still have one last representative who would like to make a manifestation.
Yes, okay, Madam Chair.
So may we call in Vice Chair Jose Pingping Tejado. Vice Chair Jose Pingping Tejada.
Yes, Madam Chair, to everyone, to Secretary
Yes, ngayong gabi Go ahead.
To other members of the Appropriations Committee. I would like to express my thanks to the SWD for the support that you have provided for my district in the province of North Cotabato. We have catered to all sectors from PWD, single parents, other religious sectors, as well as other members of the underprivileged in our district, Madam Chair. And we would like to thank the DSWD as well as the government for not actually fully downloading the budget of AX to the LGU, because of course we think and we get be secured that the macro implementations of the programs must have to be left under the jurisdiction of the SWD. And of course, we would like also to thank all other agencies and departments have been working with the SWD in support to cater to the needs of our very at our constituency, Madam Chair. And for that, we'd like also to thank former Regional Director Joel Espejo and Rusty Makoto of the Region 12 of the province. Thank you very much. And we need, I think, Madam Chair, as to the issues of unused balance now, because we know that at the end of the year, we need to have prepared funds for any eventualities, because we do not anticipate the end of the COVID pandemic, Madam Chair. So if we have to be strict about the unused funds that we have we under the DSWD, we might come into a situation, Madam Chair, that a need at that point in time where it is needed, we have to be ready about it. So that is something that we have to consider, Madam Chair. Thank you very much, and thank you to everyone.
Salamat, and the session is suspended. briefing resume. May I call in Representative Francis Castro? Representative Castro, you're recognized. And earlier you made a motion. Can you please restate your motion?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So I move to terminate the briefing of the budget of DSWD proper and its attached agency except for NCIP, Madam Chair. So move, Madam Chair.
I second the motion, Madam Chair.
So it has been moved that the DSWD budget hearing is terminated, and it has been seconded by Representative Tejado. Motion is carried.
Thank you.
So this briefing is now suspended.
Thank you, Madam Chair.